This episode of Detail Therapy is brought to you by 99 Designs. I take very seriously the design of my work. I feel like for us visual learners out there, you've got to be able to see these things and know exactly what to do next. Sure, you can read a bunch of copy, but there needs to be a great photo, a great logo, a great brand design. And that is what I love 99 Designs for. I did all of my brand design for Detail Therapy over there. I even went over there for my first book, Vlog Like a Boss. So I highly recommend you check them out, especially if you're a bootstrapper like me and you are trying to put your best face forward and you need great work. Go to 99designs.com/AMYTV and you can get $20 off your first design just for being a fan of Detail Therapy. That's 99designs.com/AMYTV.
She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author, obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies.
Give me every little detail
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
So I started the briefing. I said, you know what, today we're going to do this differently. And I said, I'm going to board the airplane. And I said, and I want each and every one of you to take a minute to look in every passenger's eyes and just smile. It will take seconds, but I want you to notice what a difference this makes. So I boarded the plane, 310 passengers, and every single person, I looked them in the eye for a second. I said, welcome aboard, I'm glad you're here. And so we're in flight, and we're back at the galley, and we've served meals, and things were going really well. And the flight attendants were looking at me like, what did you do? How are these people so nice today? This is so weird. I said, it's amazing when you give out positive energy, it comes back in that connection.
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. You just heard a little bit of my chat with Sandy Rains, founder of the Rains Group. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the key to affirmations and the habit that will help you see real change in your life, how to approach any situation and achieve great success, whether you have a clue what you're doing or not, and the words you need to remove from your vocabulary right now to not only see a difference in yourself, but project the best version of you. We have a lot to get into with Sandy today. But for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Amy Landino, and I will be your host. I'm a YouTube creator, professional speaker, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. Should we add podcaster to that by now? Probably, but you know how it is. I'm here to help you go after the life that you want. You can find out more details about me by going to youtube.com/AMYTV. I'm recording this right now. I literally just got home to my home office after recording a couple of podcast episodes today, and I am still riding the high from this conversation with Sandy. It was so spectacular. I'm really looking forward to you hearing it in just a couple of minutes. And I want to give a big shout out to Shine Squad, my friends at Patreon who watched it live. It was so well received. I'm just so excited to get this to you. But Sandy is a rock star, and you're not going to believe all the things she's done in her life, the different careers, the different things, and how this mindset that she has guided her through all of it. And to not only be a success now, but she has been a massive success with everything she has put her mind to. And it's just so amazing to see. I know it's going to be motivating for you because even let's say you're in a situation right now where you're not in a career that you see for yourself long term, but you're definitely doing something to expand your skills and you're just not sure how long that's going to last, knowing that you can go into it with the right approach and that it will benefit you for the long term, whether it's your forever space or not, is so incredible. I think there's going to be a lot of information here from Sandy that will help you with that will help you stay focused on that. And it's just going to be super awesome. So definitely stay tuned. I do want to make a quick announcement in case you haven't seen it anywhere else, but as you may know, at AMYTV, we do have a book club, and every quarter or so, we'll pick up a new read to read together. No matter how you like to do it, ebook or audiobook, or if you have an actual hard copy, it's completely up to you what you prefer. But I just announced recently the summer read that we are going to be doing, and we're going to be reviewing this summer book on August 11th on the channel. So if you want to join us in reading this book, go pick up a copy of Atomic Habits by James Clear. I am just living for this. I thought I didn't need another habits book, but it's so fantastic. I highly recommend it. And I already know what I'm going to say in my review video, so that's kind of me cheating right now. But make sure you go and pick up that book if you're interested, because I think it's really great work on James' part. I'm hoping we're going to have James on the show in the future, and so make sure you stay tuned for that review. This book is fantastic. I think it fits really well with what we're going to talk about with Sandy today, because a lot of how he won me over on this book was talking about how habits are connected to our identity and how we can start thinking about it as identity rather than just a thing we want to do more often. So go check that out. If you actually go to my website, amylandino.com/shop, if you go to the shop page, you can check out the bookshelf. And I always link to all my favorite books, all the books I've read, and the book of AMYTV book club at that moment. So go and check that out. The link will be in the show notes. With that, let's get into my chat with my next guest. Sandy Rains is the founder and CEO of the Rains Group. Drawing on her coaching background, Sandy has applied her team building experience to her company, emphasizing a synergistic approach to working with clients. Her positive mindset methodologies and daily affirmations have helped her determine the key to success in everything she's done, from flight attending to coaching sports to now selling real estate. Sandy's approach has completely changed her life and all those around her. Let's get into it with Sandy Rains. Sandy Rains, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. So tell me, why do you do what you do?
Well, I learned a long time ago, one of my passions and things that I love to do is connecting people and helping people move towards a positive space. And when I was in high school, my mother got a real estate license, and I even did a few open houses with her once in a while.
Really?
And then I moved away, and once I was a flight attendant, she said, and I was moving back to Michigan, she said, why don't you come get your real estate license? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. I have a lot of energy and wanted to do more. I don't like to be bored. Mm-hmm. So I got my real estate license, and I was Rookie of the Year. And then for 15 consecutive years, I was number one in her company.
Wow.
So I thought, well, this is good. This is a good fit. So I continued on, and then I met my husband, and my father actually he got his dissertation from my father, his PhD, and as an organizational psychologist, and then he was working at Victoria's Secret as an executive, so that meant moving here. Mm-hmm. So I had to start all over again, and that was a bit of a challenge, more than I expected.
I'm sure. Where were you again?
I lived in Michigan.
Okay.
Lansing,
okay.
Michigan.
Gotcha. Lansing. Okay.
So my mother, a little bit more about that though. She was, by 50, she opened her own company, and that was when real estate was dominated by men. And at 75, she was Businesswoman of the Year.
Wow.
So she was a good role model for me.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So it's funny how we met. Actually, Vin tells this story all the time. He's always saying, where we were in Columbus, and we just heard someone talking about, was it here, Vin? Was it here, or was it in San Diego? When Melissa was talking about me. Yeah, we were in San Diego, and your colleague, Melissa, who works with you in your marketing department, was talking about my session, and Vin overheard her and said, that's my wife that you're talking about. And she's from Columbus. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And then you and I both were speaking at a local real estate event together in Columbus. And so all these sort of like stars aligned, and we just got to chatting, and that was a while ago now. But it's just kind of funny how that all worked out, that she was sent off to this marketing event that I was speaking at, and just really fun.
And you were one of her favorite speakers.
Oh yes. Let's make sure we throw that in there. Thank you. No, it was such a great compliment, and it was just so great to have such good energy in the room, and it's in part to people like Melissa, so that was really exciting. And hopefully she brought something back to the office.
A lot, yes.
Oh good.
Very much.
So you guys doing some video now?
We are.
Excellent.
Yes, we love it.
Excellent. Well, that was kind of how you got your start in the industry. It sounds like your mom was a really strong role model in that way. How did you feel that this came naturally to you, other than, you started to see some accolades happening, but what was the best part about it that really was fueling you to keep doing this?
Well, my first career out of college was a physical education teacher and a coach.
Oh, okay.
And my first job was in inner city school. Mm-hmm. Was rather a tough start. And I remember going in, and they sort of had this attitude like, what are you doing here, and who do you think you are? And I decided, well, we're going to shift this energy. And I had them pick captains, and which were going to be the leaders, and they didn't have their gym shoes, they didn't have clothes to wear, they just were sort of sitting around like, so I got captains, and they got points for everybody that dressed out, and they got points when we did drills and exercises for the most enthusiasm, and each week I'd pick a team of the week. And then I'd make a big deal. They'd come up and everybody'd clap for the team of the week. So before long, kids were the captains and some of the other girls were bringing gym suits and extra tennis shoes so everybody could get their point.
Right.
So the momentum built, and so I started a track team. We never lost a track meet. And I started then, that was so much fun. I started a volleyball team, and they were just great athletes, but they'd never had this positive experience. And it was
Like positivity in competition.
it was, yes.
Interesting.
That enthusiasm really makes you do better
Yeah.
and feel better and gives momentum to what you're doing. And my second year there, I was voted Teacher of the Year. So
Wow.
it was but only because I was helping them feel better, helping them feel successful. And then I moved to Atlanta, and I coached gymnastics and basketball. Well, in order to get the job, I had to coach basketball. I didn't know how to dribble a ball and lift my head. I mean, I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a challenge. He said, well, you'll
Awkward.
figure it out. So my father, who was a great mentor for me always, said, you need to let them know the truth. So I walked in, and I think I got tears in my eyes. I said, I want you to know I don't know everything there is to know about basketball. That's not my strength. But I do know how to help you get along, and we're going to do that. So we started writing blue slips, which we still do at my team today, where it's a compliment to someone, and we had a team.
Wait, break that down. What's a blue slip?
Okay, good idea.
I want to know.
Blue
I want to
slip
know.
is you write a compliment to somebody.
Okay.
If they did something nice, you write it down on a blue slip, and at the team meeting, we would read it, and we do that now even in real estate. So it,
Interesting.
again,
Is
builds
this a
that
sport thing I
positive-
just don't know about? I'd never heard of that before.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. And on someone's birthday, everybody writes a blue slip about them. So those are all traditions
that's
that
nice.
we've carried forward. So
Vin,
it's
where
been
are
nice.
my blue slips? My birthday's coming up. Just
That's right, it
asking.
is.
Just checking. Okay. Just dropping that seed. Okay. Anyway, okay. So so you've brought the blue slip to the office, and how did you see these two?
Well, so no, actually, then I became a flight attendant. So
wow.
I was coaching, and I was so passionate about it, but I'd get home, it was dark every night, and I thought, okay, my life's passing by, and I was in my 20s. So one of my gymnasts, dad was head of personnel for Delta Airlines, and I said, I always thought it'd be fun to be a flight attendant. He handed me his card. He said, if you want a job, you've got it. So the last day of
Knowing
school,
people.
I started 4 days later.
Oh my
with Delta.
goodness.
And so as that progressed, one of the fun stories about the positivity, I was the flight attendant in charge. So on a big L-1011, there are 8 flight attendants, and you're in charge of the crew and the passengers. You're really the leader.
Yeah.
So you have a briefing before, and I'm getting the briefing from the hotel in the van, and we had 30 special meals and 15 wheelchairs. And the energy in the van going to the briefing was like, oh, no, and not
Yeah,
another
that's a
one of
lot.
these.
Yeah.
So I started the briefing. I said, you know what? Today we're going to do this differently. And I said, I'm going to board the airplane. And I said, and I want each and every one of you to take a minute to look in every passenger's eyes and just smile. It will take seconds. But I want you to notice what a difference this makes. So I boarded the plane, 310 passengers. And every single person, I looked them in the eye for a second. I said, welcome aboard. I'm glad you're here. And so we're in flight, and we're back at the galley, and we've served meals, and things were going really well. And the flight attendants were looking at me like, what did you do? How are these people so nice today? This is so weird. I said, it's amazing when you give out positive energy, it comes back in that connection. So and I said, and I'm going to deplane today. So we get to New York City, and I'm deplaning everybody, saying thank you for coming. It was so great to have you on board today. So they all left, and the flight attendants were like, Sandy, this is just unbelievable. I just don't know how that happened. That's weird. So this gate agent comes on. He said, who's in charge of this flight? And I said, I am. He said, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He said, I've worked here for over 30 years, and it's the first time every single passenger got off and said that was the best flight they'd ever had. Yes. It's a true story.
Wow, that takes a lot.
Yeah.
And also not that much, just caring.
Well, not that much at all.
Yeah.
Not that much at all. And the other piece of that is one of the things my dad taught me is giving and receiving are one. So as the flight attendants and when I was welcoming them aboard, you could see them looking back and being so happy that I'd taken that moment. And that connection, I felt like floating on a cloud.
Sure.
And all the other flight attendants
Absolutely.
did. So the whole energy, it was just beautiful.
And
It really
shout
was.
out to the people who have a very hard time flying, because something
Yes.
so small like that went even further than maybe somebody like me who's on a plane sometimes once a week. And it's just like, oh, wow. Just for me, that would have been impactful, but I
Yes.
can imagine for somebody who's not good at flying. So it sounds like this has been a continuing theme in everything
It has.
you've done. As long as you have this sort of mindset,
Right.
it's helping you set the stage for what you want to do with your companies. So can you talk a little bit about that? It's very obvious to me that there's this positive mindset theme, especially at the Rains Group, but clearly with it sounds like a lot of customer service and team building careers that you've had in the past. So what does that look like? What does it look like at the Rains Group, and how does that affect their work more than it would at the average real estate agent?
Well, one of my people that I've learned from, I've had lots of business and personal coaches, and I love to learn and go to seminars. And his name was Fred Gross, and he was for realtors. And one of the things he taught us, there are small poppies and tall poppies. And when you're successful, you're a tall poppy, and sometimes small poppies like to say things about you. So just hang out with the tall poppies and create this sense of connection. And again, my father's other thing is we're all really spiritual companions that help each other see what we can't always see for ourselves. So when you're like that and you've got other tall poppies, or on our team, we support each other. If somebody's having a bad day, you can just go over and say, hey, how about let's think something positive right now, or that kind of thing.
Love
Anyway, I think I got lost.
No,
But
that's
yeah.
okay. That's great. Well, that's an important lesson to learn. So how do you implement that in the office? Like, how do you see and how do you teach that? And then also, when do you start to see it really set in for people?
Well, interesting. Just recently, I had an incredible experience with one of my agents. She was newer, and I met with her in late February, and she'd only had one sale of 200 and some thousand, and she was a little panicked. And she looked at me and said, "I'm here for advice. What are we going to do? What can I do?" I said, "Well, if you'll do what I tell you, it will shift. I can tell you right now." So her I gave her an affirmation, and with affirmations, you need to read them, write them twice a day, 10 times, because then your unconscious starts to accept it. And whatever your conscious and unconscious mind is listening to, the unconscious will always win out. So she wrote, every day in every way, I'm becoming more successful in real estate, and I love it.
And I love it. That's
And
an
I love it.
important piece.
She started, and she wrote that 10 times right when we were sitting there. And then she was going to an event with Chase at noon, so she did it in the rearview mirror. I said, you can do it in the mirror. Just keep saying this to yourself every day. So on the way to that appointment, she ended up making 2 appointments at that afternoon. She put 2 other houses in contract in a week, and year to date, right now, she sold 17 properties at $5.5 million, and the average agent in a whole year sells 4 to 5 houses.
Wow.
And she still is doing the affirmations.
Oh my goodness.
It's so powerful.
There's so many things there. First of all, the average agent sells 4 to 5 houses. How often?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that is just like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that metric. But I think this is where I'm realizing I've struggled specifically with affirmations, because I've read a lot about them. They're in the miracle morning. It's like, oh, I just have to say some really nice things to myself. I think something just clicked for me. Do you think it's more important to have a bunch of them, or to have the right ones and say them a couple of times a day? Because I think it's the couple of times a day, unconscious, getting it into your memory, your working memory.
Well, the real key, if you really want it to work and change your life, is to write them. Because you're involving all your senses, your sight, your touch. Actually, they say if you use pencil, you'll get the smell.
Yeah, that's
but you're
fair.
using your senses.
Totally.
And so when you do that, your unconscious is really taking it in. So I'll tell you another quick story. A flight attendant friend of mine, she was, when you have lots of time to talk, and she's like, was really discouraged. She wasn't dating anybody. I said, well, how about writing an affirmation? Because I was really into it. And she said, well, what should I say? And I said, I'm an irresistible magnet attracting men now. So the next week you fly with the same crew every week. So next week she came running up to me, Sandy, help. I said, what? She said, this is out of hand. Men are coming up to me in the grocery store, on the street. This is crazy. I can't even believe it.
Oh my goodness.
So we changed the affirmation is I'm an irresistible magnet filled with love, attracting my perfect mate now. And she was engaged in 6 months and married in a year.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So it's like, okay,
it really worked.
Universe, hang on. We didn't quite get it right the first time. That is fascinating. And this goes back to what I've been saying a lot lately, which is mindset is the most important thing, because I've got details and hacks and tips and all of that stuff's going to help you incrementally. But if your head's not in it, it's just not going to pan out. And so I think that's really what we're talking about at the root of affirmations.
Yes.
Sometimes I think people get confused. What is that cliche affirmations movie / book, The Secret? I don't know if it's affirmations, but it's sort of like the concept of the
Law of
secret.
attraction.
Right. Law of attraction and affirmations. And if you're not a believer in The Secret, if you're not a believer in the law of attractions, then affirmations kind of go in that box, right? But it sounds to me that affirmations are more just something of a conversation with yourself to get you thinking in a different way. So you're not sending yourself toward a negative path by assuming it's the default.
Right. So whatever you put your energy, attention, and focus on, you create more of. You create momentum. You actually create a vibe around you. So you've walked into a room and there's a negative vibe. You feel it, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know quite what it is. That's sort of like with, you can't quite describe it, but it's energy, and you feel it. And you can shift that by eliminating 3 words: don't, not, and no, and say to yourself, what do I want? So how many times have we all gotten up in the morning like, oh, I can't believe I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and I call that the monkey mind, which you have to quiet, and affirmations help that. But sometimes you're in the monkey minds taking over and telling you, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that, this wasn't good enough. And picture a stop sign, stop, because you're going to feel the negative energy, and you can say, so what do I want? And shift your energy so it's positive. So if you're a mother and you've got kids that leave their clothes on the floor, don't leave your clothes on the floor. Instead you say, would you please hang your clothes up when you're done? Or don't forget your homework. Instead say, remember to take your homework today. Because if I told you to go to Google right now and put no football in, it'd show up all kinds of football. So when you say no, or if I said don't think of the Statue of Liberty, you just did. Mm-hmm. So the don't, not, no, you're putting more energy, and that tends to be the negative. What you want to say to yourself, so what do I want? And it'll shift your energy.
Fascinating. Mm-hmm. I love that. I actually have learned this in so much experience in marketing. I would have a tendency to write in negatives or just to give advice in negatives. And it's not necessarily that I'm being negative, but it would be like, oh, stay away from that. And that's a bad idea. And instead of saying the flip and just giving the repercussions of like, or else this might happen. I love that advice. I think that's so good. How do you think that this mindset, these affirmations have contributed to the mass connections that you've created over time? Well,
the affirmations I've created, and I think that what you think about, you bring about. That's my favorite quote. I love it because, and I would say everyone on my team knows that. They probably say, that's Sandy.
Yeah.
So if you just have to make a choice. You have to set goals. And when that goal is, I want to be successful, then you keep thinking of how am I going to do that? What do I want? This is what I want. This same real estate coach one time, he said, okay, I want you to write down your goal for the year. We all wrote it down, and he said, now I want you to double it. I went, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I did, and I hit that goal exactly.
Wow.
So it's when you really, your unconscious mind accepts this and you have a positive energy going on, then it really flows.
Yeah, I just keep going deeper with this because it just keeps reminding me of other things. Scarcity mindset is what that reminds me of, right? Or just general limitations that we've just decided about ourselves. We don't even know to change our own tune. How have you found that in your own life? Maybe things that you felt limited about, but you didn't even realize that you were and that you could go beyond. Besides the business goal, is there something else where you were like, no, I can go do more with this, or I can go beyond these limitations that I've been putting on myself that I didn't even know I was doing?
Yes, well, an interesting sort of side note. My daughter, we moved here in 1998, and December 31st, 1999, she had a horrific elevator accident, and her face was totally crushed.
What?
She fell at the after the car ran over her face. She fell to the bottom of the elevator shaft. And when I got to the emergency room, the head of emergency said, "Are you her mother?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Her face is gone." I said, "What?" They said, "Her face is gone. It's a hole." And I'm looking at her like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I was like, oh my, this is a challenge. And what happened then is I realized, and I learned the hard way, well, actually the easy way, because it was where I found peace, that the only place peace is in the moment. So I didn't leave the hospital for a month, and I was, somebody sent me this card with a quote from the Bible on the back, and it said, "Power is in the present." And I thought what would happen is if I thought about, oh gosh, why did I let her go off? Or what am I going to do next? How are we ever going to get through this? I'd get anxious and uptight, and it didn't help.
What's it doing for you? Exactly.
But in the present, I could say a prayer, or I could connect with my daughter or with the doctors, and I could be present. And I even helped other people in the waiting room with that concept. I say, remember, power's in the present, and they'd smile, finally come back, because that same thing when you've got a sick child or one hurt, you're always thinking, okay, now what am I going to do? How am I going to make this better? So that was very valuable. In fact, I didn't go into the office for 3 months. When I was sitting with Laura during that month, I was talking to her about lots of things, as you can imagine, but I said, honey, because I had moved to Columbus, and I spent that year really working hard. I had relo on weekends, and I said, Mommy's really sorry that I worked so hard this last year. And she said, why did you do that? And it was like a knife went in right through my heart. And I thought, oh my gosh, why? I said, I promise you I will not do that now. I will be here for you. And for 3 months, I didn't go into the office. Stephanie, who I hired at 18, she was 19 at the time, ran everything for 3 months. But that's when we realized I wanted a team. And with my coaching background, I thought, well, this will be natural. And that's when I recruited my husband away from the limited, because we needed him to have more flexibility too to travel with Laura. So that's how but that was quite an experience.
How old was Laura?
She was 8. So
how old
it's
is she
20,
now?
she's 20 now.
Oh my God.
28, I'm sorry. Goes
It's
fast.
been a few minutes. How's she doing?
She's incredible. She has a job with Google, and just a quick side note for Laura, because
please.
When I was taking her into her first surgery, she said, Mommy, I said, what? She said, do you know how lucky I am? And I said, what? She said, I could have broken my leg. I said, well, that's right, you could have. And then at 16, we're going into the James because they're trying to make teeth for her. And her doctors always loved her because she was always so curious and positive. So we walk into this room, and this man who's 6'6" says, Laura, put your hand out, and takes his ear off and puts it in her hand. And she goes, wow, is that cool? And they had this incredible connection. They talked and shared, and we're walking back out to the car, and she said, Mom, do you know how lucky I am? And I said, what? And she said, if I hadn't had my accident, I never would have met that amazing man and all these amazing doctors. I'm really lucky.
Wow.
And then at 20, we went out. They had made her nose out of a bone in her hip, and it hadn't grown with her face. So she was 20. He said, I want to put in a new nose for her. And I said, okay. So we were doing her surgeries in LA. We went out there. And we get back, and I'm looking at her, and I'm seeing the skin eat off of her nose. It's like I thought I was hallucinating. So I called her surgeon. He said, get to the ER now. And that was in May. So we had to go back and forth to LA every month to try and save that bone. And halfway through the summer, we're sitting in the family room, and I kept trying to come up with some way to make it heal faster. I love healing and all of that. Yeah. And I said, I'm just so frustrated. I can't understand we've got to come up with some solution here. And Laura said, Mom, do you know how lucky we are? And I looked at her, I said, what? Tell me now.
Now
what?
how lucky we are.
And she said, after 25 surgeries, it's the first time we've had a problem. We're really lucky.
Wow.
So she's one of the most courageous people I've ever known, and she teaches me every day, and
that's amazing.
Very proud of her. And that attitude, talk about attitude. Right?
That is extraordinary, and a testament to you for giving her a culture like that.
Yeah.
To think of all the possibilities and not the nots and the don'ts and the no's. absolutely incredible. I don't even know where to go with that. That is just so amazing. Well, I guess I want to get into the details now. I'd love to hear more about your day and what it's like.
Okay.
Because I know you're running a successful company. You got a big team now. So what does it look like when you wake up every day?
Well, I wake up when my body wakes me up.
That's a great answer. I wish I could say that. I still need an alarm clock.
I don't do alarm clocks at all unless I have something specific. So my morning, I wake up and then I have a routine of meditating. My husband and I meditate together and read the Course in Miracles together. And
what kind of meditation do you do?
Transcendental meditation.
Okay, so how long do you guys typically?
20 minutes.
Okay.
You do meditation twice a day.
And then you read what?
Course in Miracles.
Okay.
And a lot of the things I learned from my father. In fact, when he was 80, he produced a CD based on A Course in Miracles, and it's called Songs of Forgiveness.
Oh, wow.
And his definition of forgiveness is let it go. And we're all happier when we let things go.
That's very true. That's very true.
So, yes. So it was an interesting side note because my parents were really pretty amazing. When I was a senior in high school, my father was having a conference of 50 deans from around the country. And my mom said, why don't we see if the Maharishi can come? And my dad said, well, maybe. And I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the Beatles yogi.
No, I did not know
He's very
that.
famous. Oh, yes.
Wow.
He's a very famous guy. So he agreed and came and stayed at our house, taught all 50 deans how to meditate, and I actually learned from him at that point. And my mother, the whole family went from there to Squaw Valley and spent a month with him meditating and learning all about transcendental meditation.
Oh my goodness.
So
So you got it pretty figured out right now. Okay.
The meditation part is wonderful.
Amazing. Is that your main habit in the morning that kind of sets you up?
So we do, and then I always do gratitudes. I have an app that I just love.
What is it? Please share.
Happy Feed.
Okay.
I love it. And today I'm on 138 days in a row.
Oh, wow.
It's fun because they keep telling you how many days you've done, which keeps you going. You know, like any habit.
Yeah, you like
want
to
be
keep
consistent. And
Xing out the box.
Right.
Yep.
So it shows this nice little 138 days today.
Amazing.
Congratulations. And of course, besides the fact, more importantly, really, is that you feel good when you write gratitudes.
Yes.
And you can actually add a picture. You can actually, I've sent a text to my daughter with the picture. So I'm just feeling grateful to have you in my life, or grateful of what, and you could share it with someone.
Oh
Again,
my
that's
gosh.
that connection.
I love that. I can't believe I haven't heard of this app
Yeah,
yet. Okay,
Happy
I have
Feed.
to include that in the show notes. That's
Yes,
a good one.
It's a great one.
That's a really good one.
Highly recommend it.
So actually, Vin was audio testing you earlier, and I kind of want you to talk about this again. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, every morning, my sweet husband, he gets up earlier than I do. He has my green tea with fresh organic ginger in it, ready for me.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm so
Vin,
lucky.
I mean, come on. You can't have the fresh tea with the ginger ready.
I know. Ron would tell you the grating the ginger is a little rough. He's got a few scars from it, but he does it every morning.
He's dedicated though. Okay.
Committed, yes. He's committed.
That's awesome.
And then we have a smoothie. And in the smoothie, it's a protein powder. It was actually one that a doctor came up with. It had cancer, and he was all, these different kind of drinks weren't really that healthy, so he created one very healthy. And then I add collagen, greens, blueberries, and liquid minerals. And then I'm big into Young Living essential oils, and the Ninja Red helps all kinds of things, so I add that in
Oh,
too.
interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. Do you prefer a certain collagen brand for the smoothies?
I
Is
get
that
it
what-
from my healthcare provider.
Okay,
so
cool.
I don't know off the top of my
Yeah.
head what it is,
So
but
you
I
talked to somebody about it. Very cool, because I've tried a couple of those, and I think that's great. Would you consider yourself pretty organized?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So what do you use to help you with that?
Well, one of the interesting things, I had a business coach once that said you have to be successful, you have to have a three-legged stool. You have to have the artist, the manager, and the entrepreneur. I'm the artist.
I love that.
So my manager is incredibly organized. That's Stephanie, who's been with me for 20 years now. And I have all kinds of organized people around me that they enjoy the positivity that I bring to their life and different things that I help them grow, and they enjoy helping me stay organized and on point.
Love
so
that.
Yes.
Everybody
it
has
works
their
well.
role. That's the
right.
important thing, right?
Yes.
How do you typically go about your day? Is it a task list? Is it following the calendar to a T? Is there something or is somebody just saying like, here's where you're at next?
They remind me what's next. But what's interesting in real estate and why I think it was a good fit for me, I can get a call from somebody and you don't know when it's coming in real estate. And they say, oh, by the way, could you come take a walk through my house today? So I'm not a rigid schedule person, and that's paid off.
Oh, let's go
spades
in
for
on
me.
this. Okay. I always wondered if I could be this personality type and be a real estate agent, because I feel like when my phone rings, I'm not super excited. I don't like to hear it. So do you pick up your phone every single time somebody calls you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you like put parameters around that, or is it like, this is the time to entertain calls, this is the time to entertain potentially a new client or somebody that's an existing client? Like, how do you design your boundaries for that?
Well, I use text a lot.
Okay.
I use text a lot
Yeah.
so that I get back to them, but I don't. Making the conversation and actually picking up the phone can take a lot longer.
Yes.
So they know that I haven't forgotten about them, but it's just a quick text.
So it's important to have the touch points, but you
Yes.
don't always have to just see. I
No.
think that's super important for people to hear, because I do understand the things that happen when you get into a certain industry. I think real estate is one of them, where you just feel like you've got to be on all the time, because you never know when a deal could come in or when a client's going to be unhappy. And but you can still have balance in the way that you address everything, because you don't want to take a call when you're not at your best, and you don't
Right.
want to try to help somebody when you're not focused or you're not in
That's
front of
right.
the information that they need. So I love that you said that. Is there another resource? You mentioned one earlier, but a book that you recommend, maybe one that just helps with mindset, maybe affirmations that people could pick up and take a look at?
Well, I actually, The 4 Agreements for Mindset is one of my very favorite books, and I say all the time different things, parts about. Probably the most I say is don't take it personally, because in our business you get feedback and people get upset, and you have to stay calm, and it's not about you.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
about them and where they're coming from. So, but that's a great book. There's a new book out, which is not professional so much, but The Energy Codes by Sue Moroder. And again, I'm really into energy.
Yeah.
And whether it's energy healing or just the positive energy. And that's a great book. She's really taking it to the new. And another thing, this is really out there, but it really works. And it's called EFT. And it made me think of this. It's a tapping, and you should look it up online, because it can change your energy in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And drastically. In fact, what made me think of it, when you're asking on a flight attendant, somebody afraid to fly, one time I was a passenger and this woman sitting across the aisle from me, I could tell she was so nervous. She was clutching, and she had a baby that was crying. And so I said something to her, I don't remember, but she said, I'm just scared to death to fly. And then she really is building this up and telling me this whole story. And I said, well, would you like to change that? Well, how would I do that? I said, well, if you do something with me, and I'll do it with you, this is going to change it. She said, okay, I'll do it. So you tap, and what you do is you tap on your meridians, and you say what you're afraid of. So I'm afraid, what all the fears she had, so that you can get them out. So I'm terrified to fly. I hate this. I feel like I'm claustrophobia. What if we get in a crash? All those things. And then after you do that, you go, peace, and just tapping those meridians with that. And then
Where are the meridians?
It's around your eyes.
Okay.
You start right here.
Okay.
Is spot 1 on the outside of your eye, under your eye, under your nose, right here, on your chest.
Okay.
And the top of your head is your chakra, your crown chakra. And then you pulsate on your wrist and say peace. So I had her do this, and then you go through and say something positive. So you can go, I said, on a 1 to 10 scale, how anxious are you? She said, 20. I said, okay. So we're going to get it to go down. So after we did this round, we did it 2 rounds. I said, now where are you? She said, I'm like a 5. I've never flown like this before. I said, well, we're going to keep going so we can get it lower. So we did that again, and she said, when are you coming back? I want to fly back when you do, honey. We're going to have to change our plane so she can fly with me.
You're going to have to record this for me so I can listen to it while I'm flying every time. That is fascinating. Okay, I have to ask sort of like a fun celebrity question.
Okay.
I know you know Barbara Corcoran
Yes,
from Shark Tank.
I do.
How did that happen?
Well, remember I said the tall poppies?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm involved in several real estate groups, and she's very selective about who she picks, and so she does her own research, and they bring papers to her about everybody. And so I was selected from this group. we aren't called the towel poppies, but we all use this same guy that taught us that concept.
Yeah.
So it was through that, and it's been a wonderful. She's just lovely.
Yeah.
She's
cool in real life.
She really is very gentle, kind, driven.
Yes.
But,
I would hope so.
Yeah, very
she comes
focused.
Off that way, yeah.
Very focused, very driven, but very warm.
Awesome. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
really been
I
fun.
like to hear about just like stars.
I know it.
Are they really like that?
Everybody likes to hear that, yes. And it's nice that I can say that.
Yes, absolutely. That just makes you feel better,
That's
right?
right.
Because these are the people you surround yourself with.
That's right.
Well, before I ask you my final question, and by the way, I acknowledge you for your time. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I just love everything that you shared because I think it's a totally different perspective than we've had on the show yet. So
good.
Amazing. But before my last question, where can people catch up with you online? What are you excited about right now? Anything you want to share?
Yes, we have a Facebook page, the Rains Group, on Facebook. And then we have Instagram. And Instagram is at the Rains Group, OH. And so that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now we're having a charity program. It's called our 200th home sale. And we send out an announcement to all these local charities. And the top 5 who get the most votes on our website are in the finals. And all 5 of them will get a check from the commission of our 200th home sale.
Wow. That's
This
fun.
is our 3rd year. It's been great. The charities are so appreciative, and it feels so good to us to give back and do this charity.
Absolutely.
stuff. It's
For
been very-
people who are listening that are not in Columbus, can you just talk about where you tend to focus your business? Is it all of Columbus? Is it just certain areas?
It's all of Columbus.
Okay, cool.
It's all of Columbus on purpose because you never know when relocation comes in. I mean, where they're going to start their search.
Sure. Absolutely.
And you want to make sure you're getting everywhere.
Awesome. Cool.
And I have a team, so that really helps. 'cause
Definitely.
They can specialize in parts of the city.
All right. Well, we'll link to all those social places and the contest and everything in the show notes. My last question for you, Sandy, is what does it mean to you to go after the life that you want?
Well, what it means to me, and after Laura's accident, realizing how important balance is. And one of the things for me is having time for the important things in my life, my family, my faith, my friends, my health, and staying fit. All of those things is really important to me, and that means having balance.
I love that.
Yes,
Thank you,
and
Sandy.
positivity.
Awesome. Sandy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's catch the details of my chat with Sandy. First, I just want to say that we got to talking after the show, and we realized we got so excited chatting that we forgot to actually provide you with some ideas for affirmations that you can use for getting started. So her first tip here is to write these affirmations 10 times 2 times per day. So you're sitting down twice a day to write your affirmations 10 times. And then she gave a couple of examples for you to consider for your own. And you might want to come up with your own, but here are some. And I think these are really great for guiding you on how to write your own as well. First, this helps your unconscious accept these thoughts and actually shift you so they happen. I am a beautiful, lovable person, and I deserve to be loved. I am loving and lovable. I see love everywhere. I am an irresistible magnet filled with love attracting blank. Fill in what you would like to attract here. Every day and in every way, I am becoming more, insert your ideal situation here, and I love it. I can't stop smiling. Just read those examples. I can see how just having something like this that you did every day would be such a positive conversation with yourself. What great tips here. Sandy, thank you so much for following up with those and sending those over just so we can add an even cooler little aspect to this podcast. You guys really need to start doing affirmations because I'm about to do it ASAP. I'm literally going to sit down right now and write down 10 times 2 new affirmations in my life, at least, because I just love this. It's such a good tip from Sandy. Thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to include here was the blue slips thing. I don't know if this was foreign to you like it was to me. I never played sports, so maybe it was in that area of the world. And maybe you've seen this in your workplace as well, but giving compliments on the blue slip. I thought that was so fun. And quite frankly, what a much more fun and effective thing to do on a birthday. Like at the office, we're always stuffing each other's mouths with cake. Instead, why don't we collect compliments from everybody and give it to them? I loved that advice from Sandy, and I wanted to make sure you saw it here too. What an amazing episode. So excited about this one. And if you want more advice straight to your earbuds, I have some ideas for living your best life every day. And that is in my free audio training, The 7 Essential Details for Going After the Life That You Want. You can receive this audiogram by subscribing to this podcast in your favorite podcast player, taking a screenshot that you did so, and then emailing that screenshot to hello@detailspodcast.com. That's hello@detailspodcast.com with audiogram, please, in the subject line. And then we'll get that right over to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. If you would like to discover even more actionable details, head over to AMYTV by typing in your browser youtube.com/AMYTV or search for Amy Landino in your YouTube app. Subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life that you want. Cheers.